Welcome, my name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today. We are on to a new stamp set for this week. It is called Lifetime of Love. Now, it has carried over from last year, and I did use it last year, but I loved it so much I'm going to use it again today or this week. So it comes with 9 images, and you can also get a die set which has 12 images. So let me show you the stamps for the stamp set to begin with. So there are 5 images and 4 of them are sentiments. So you've got 9 in total. So you've got a flower or a daisy, you've got 2 like heads of flowers, you've got some leaves, and you've got like a swathe of, I suppose they could be roses or anything that you prefer. And then with the sentiments, we've got the simple one which says love you, then forever and always, wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness, and congratulations on your wedding day. So obviously this stamp set was thought of originally as being a stamp set ideal for weddings, which is what I did last year when I made them. But this year we're going for birthday cards. So let's put this aside and I can show you today's card, which is a very simple card. It's got lots of layers on it, and I've brought in a few other stamp sets just to highlight this stamp set. Right, so let's bring in the supplies. The supplies are quite easy. I have got Granny Apple Green, which measure 8 inches by 5 3/4 and scored at the 4-inch mark, which we can then burnish with our bone folder. There we go. So then the next thing we've got is a piece of 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. Now this is Strawberry Slush. It's one of the new in colours. We've also got Cloud Cover, which measures 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. And then I have 2 pieces of white, which both measure 3 1/4 by 5 inches. So we've gone down by 1/4 of an inch to all of them. If you caught my videos last week when we were doing the mail cards, I had some string left over from creating, so I thought I would use these today, which is what I've created with this bow here on the end of the card. So let's put these aside and we can start. So the first thing we need to do is to give ourselves the texture effect, which, as I say, is from a stamp set called Elements of Texture. I will link the code and everything into my description below. You will find a link on my YouTube channel, which will basically give you all the supplies that I've used. If you click on that, that will take you to a list of supplies that you can choose from. Okay, so what we're going to do, as I say, we're going to use the square one, or rectangle even, whereas we've used the circular one before. Now I have got myself a spot, an ink spot. They come clear like this, and they're ideal for using with re-inkers. Now Cloud Cover is an in colour, but unfortunately it doesn't come in the big stamp set or the big ink pad. For technical reasons it just didn't work. So what they've done is you can use Cloud Cover, you can get it by the ink re-inker, and you can get yourself some spots, and then you just ink up the spots. It's quite simple. Just take off your top, unscrew your re-inker, and then you just literally go over your ink pad like this until you're happy that it's got all the ink in. It will seep through, and you can constantly, obviously it's not going to be as durable as the ink pads, because obviously they're a lot bigger and there'll be a lot more ink on these, so you can just keep adding to them as and when you want to. So what I've done is, as I said, I've inked this one up, and I'm just going to gently tap it across my texture, make sure it's all covered, and then I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to pop it in the middle, roughly about there. Push it down, and it gives you this lovely bluey grey effect. I've also got some splodges that come from the same stamp set Elements of Texture, And again, I'm just going to ink those up with my ink spot. The ink spots are a great way of finding out whether you like colours. And also, if you're going to carry them around a lot, you don't want to take an entire ink pad. You can take these little spots with you, so they fit into your bag quite easily. There we go. Ooh, I'm not going to worry about that. We can cover that up. No hassles. Right, okay, so let's put those aside. So now I'm actually going to bring in the flower. I'm going to put the lid on this little ink pad. Ink spot. Now I'm going to ink the flower up, and I'm inking it up in Memento Black. I'm just going to ink it up, and then I'm just going to pop it somewhere in the middle of the actual sentiment. Okay, pop that down, hold it for a couple of seconds and bring it up. So as you can see, there is a little bit of detail from behind from the stamp, but we're not going to worry about that, because we're going to bring in our blend pens. And I've got 3 colours. We've got the Strawberry Slush, I have light Calypso Coral, and I've got dark Granny Apple Green. So I'm going to colour the petals of the flowers in the Strawberry Slush. Okay. Then I'm going to use the inside of the flower is going to be coloured in with the light Calypso Coral. Yeah. And then, of course, the greenery will be the Granny Apple Green. And that will come through quite nice. And as I say, that's the dark. And as you can see, by adding the blends, it makes it pop. Now, obviously, as previous, I have done one ahead of time. There we go. So the only thing we need to do at the moment is to add the sentiment. So as I said, I've got the happy birthday. Now this is from Simply Said, and I'm going to use Old Olive because I wanted it to be slightly darker and for it to show up quite well. So I'm going to just check it on my paper. Yep, I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to pop it down here, making sure I'm straight. There we go, look at that. Lovely. I'm going to pop these onto their carved bases now before I add anything else. So that's going to go onto the cloud cover, and I'm going to use my multi-purpose. Let's take that bit of glue off. There we go. And tap it to make sure it comes out. Yeah, look at that. That will then be layered onto there. Straight down. Lovely. Then I'm going to layer that onto the Strawberry Slush. And then that will go onto the Granny Apple Green card base. Lovely. Quite quick, quite easy for a Monday. Don't want anything too taxing on a Monday, do we really? Just slide ourselves into the week slowly and carefully. Right, so the thing to do now is to add our embellishments. So as I said, I've got this thread. I've cut it at about 16, yeah, it's about 16 inches. And I'm thinking it might be too big. So what I'm going to do, I fold it in half, and then I'm going to use my ribbon scissors to cut it in half, which is what I was going to do originally, because the other one is a double thread. And I'm going to see if I can do it with one piece without it looking literally. So I've cut it down to 8, and now I'm folding it into 4. And see if I can make a flower and a bow without too much struggle. You probably could, but you know what? It's too much hassle for me. If you are a dab hand at making bows, you will probably not need to worry. But what I'm going to do is I've got both pieces together. So that's the 16 inches cut into half. And then I'm just going to make myself a bow like so. I even managed to mix that one up again. Let's try that again, shall we? There we go. Right. So I'm going to go one bunny ear and then through. There we go. Right. And then just jiggle it down to the size that you're wanting. Making sure, of course, that you're grabbing both ends. Otherwise, you'll end up with one big hoop and one little hoop. I think, is that too big? I think it is, just a tiny bit more. And this is why I was thinking I could cut it down a bit. So my strings aren't too long. Right, so I'm going to adhere that, and I'm going to use a glue dot and my piercing tool. I'm just going to fold that up slightly because we don't need it to be so big. Because obviously the flower isn't that, or the bow isn't that big. And I'm just going to pop it down here at the base of the flower. There we go. Let's roll it up because, as I said, I don't want it too big because you don't want it to ooze out. Right, then I'm going to layer the ribbon onto it. So there we go. And now again, bring in our scissors just to, well, there's the familiar clip clop of our Bella going past me. There we are. So that is that. And then if you want to, I have got the 2025 to 2027 in colour pearls. So I think what I might do is I'm going to use see what it looks with the cloud cover. Do I like the cloud cover? Yeah, I think that works. Subtle one. That's too big. It's the next size down. So they're coming in 3 different sizes. I'll do one up there. And then my third one I can put, let's put it down here somewhere. There we go, just about there. Right, and that is our card for today. I hope you like that. Both versions I'm quite impressed with. And I like once that you've added the blend pens, how the flower actually pops from behind the texture and then comes out on front. Brilliant. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. We'll be back on Wednesday with another card with the same stamp set. So do join me then, and I will catch up with you soon. But whatever you do, stay safe and happy crafting. Bye.